Hey, welcome everyone.
Guys.
Thank you for joining our third live Q&A. This is so exciting as we build this community, this tribe.
Yep.
Kevin actually challenged me, like, what do we want to call our tribe?
Oh,
We got to put some thought into that.
You know what, guys? Comment on Facebook. We'll make a post on Facebook and just comment below with some of your ideas on what we should call our tribe.
Yeah, I thought that was really awesome because it would be great to know, hey guys, right? We tend to start even our books and booze, hey guys, hey y'all, but we're clearly growing a tribe, a community here. So what do we want to call ourselves? Let's give ourselves a name.
Yeah, I like that. That's so true.
Let's do it. So this week, we are going to be covering marketing and financial tools. And if you guys remember, every Monday, right, you get this beautiful newsletter written by yours truly, both of us.
Yeah, every other week. And we just really just kind of dive down into some of the stuff that we already talked about in our business boot camp. Yep. But we put some cute cartoons in there. And then what I really love is that we go a little bit further into some personal anecdotes of ours to show how we kind of resonate with some of the topics we're talking about.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And the other thing I loved, somebody's like, wow, I didn't even get this in my college classes. You know what I mean? Because they went to school, they were studying business and they thought this was a lot more in-depth and real than some of their college courses. So I'm like, thanks. It's like a master class in a way, right? So, but yes, along with getting the newsletter every Monday morning, hopefully when you wake up, I guess it depends what time you get your day started. But we also add the link to our business boot camp, which just as a reminder, you can get to it from our Saige Consultants YouTube channel. You can see the handle there.
Yeah.
But we also have it on our website. So whatever is easier for you for viewing. And yeah, so you get to watch the video. If you go to our website, we actually add additional homework and suggested reading via either a book or a podcast to listen to that ties back to that topic. So we really want to help you infiltrate your knowledge and experience around that. So watch for those every Monday. Right. All right.
And so, and it's funny because I'm going to go back and just talk a little bit about here where this is a slide from one of our videos in the business boot camp. And it talks about transitioning from an entrepreneur to a business owner. And this ties in greatly with this quadrant here. And if you've joined us on any of our past webinars, we reference a lot back to this quadrant. This quadrant comes from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the author down here, is Robert Kiyosaki. He is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And what he says is that typically on your journey, your professional journey, there's 4 stages that you can go on. And so typically you start here as an employee, right? Which means you are working for a business. You are working for a company. That company is paying you for your time. And then the transition starts happening where you've decided that you're going to take a certain particular set of skills you've learned as an employee, and you're going to open up your own business. And you have then transitioned into what we call the self-employed. And if you see here, the next stage typically says business owner. And you might argue, well, if I went and opened up my own company, don't I automatically graduate into being a business owner? And the answer is no, not quite, because that just means you've exchanged your time. Instead of a company paying you, you are paying you. And essentially you just employed yourself. Okay. Now, you might ask, how do I transition to being a business owner? Well, to transition into being a business owner means that you have systems and organization in place to make sure that this company can run without your presence there. Okay. And that's the biggest exchange, is that a self-employed person is working for themselves. A business owner employs others to work for them and essentially buying their time back. Okay. And then the next quadrant here is investor. And really, an investor is just getting a bunch of different businesses under their belt or diversifying their flow of income coming into them through various channels. And they start living off the dividends of all of that residual income coming their way. And so this is really the transition of going through, or these are the stages of transition that you go through in your professional journey. Now, I do want to make one caveat here is that not everyone desires to be here. Most do, but not everyone. Some people just want to be here. They want a lifestyle business that funds their lifestyle. They have few people working for them and they pop their head in every so often, make sure everything's good, and then they pop back out again. Then that's okay too. And then there's some over here that have no desire to have people work for them because they are just really okay just working for themselves. And they're all right that if they don't work, there's no money coming in, and they're okay with that. So this is not, I just want to say that this is not something you have to go through. But if you're here with us right now and you've joined our community, 80% of you want to be here and 100% of you want to be here. Right? Because you've decided to invest in yourself and your knowledge base in order to grow to these two quadrants.
Right. Absolutely. And that's what we're here for, to be part of that journey on with you.
Yes.
So this week we dug into, well, 2 weeks ago, you got a newsletter all around really marketing. And so just helping you guys see the big picture. Marketing really is the whole umbrella. So marketing does include everything. Your research as to who your customer is and where they're at, even in some regards, your product development and how you want to present that to your customer. It also actually does include your pricing strategy. So I actually like how your financial software is a counterpart to this, because a lot of times you need to know how much do you need to sell something for to pay for not only the item itself and the shipping and the packaging, but the marketing to advertise it. So, your financial software, which Leilani will get into in a few minutes, is going to really help you with your overall marketing approach. Now, advertising is that voice. Advertising is what most people are now doing on social media. 10 years ago, it was all about TV and radio slots. A few years before that, it was all about being in the It magazine or the best page in a newspaper, or maybe even you put something on a billboard or, on the bus stop, how they have, they could do that. But most of us are addicted to our phones. And the best way to reach people has been through social media as of late. Now, does that mean that's how it's going to be for the next 2 to 5 years? We don't know. As business owners, we need to evolve with that. But right now, the consensus is social media is the fastest way and sometimes the most economic way to call to your customers and say, come to me, come to my website, come to my shop, come check out what I have. Yeah. So just understand the difference. A lot of times the words, hey, are you marketing yourself? Really should be, hey, are you advertising yourself? Because remember, marketing is the bigger picture and there's a lot more that goes into it. Okay, next slide, my friend. Thank you. So the most important thing, and I started in the newsletter with a little jaunt of Romeo calling up on the balcony, and he was getting ready. He saw the curtains fluttering in the breeze, and out from behind the curtain steps, what do I call him? Rufus the Baker? I thought that was so clever. So, that's really the key thing with advertising. And this is why you need to do so much research and marketing. If you don't know who you are going after and where they are, you'll be calling this beautiful sonnet to the wrong balcony. And what you're saying is going to fall on deaf ears. Now, there's a lot more that goes into leveraging social media now. You probably heard about this thing called algorithms and boosting and things like that. That's a whole deeper dive into social media specifically, but you've got to start with being in the right space for where your true customer is. So if we go to the next slide, I bring this slide up. I think comes up at least in 3 of my different presentations. If you don't know who your customer is, you've got bigger problems. So now this doesn't mean you won't make a sale with almost anybody in this category. I mean, I don't know that a baby's going to crawl into your brick and mortar and slap down a, platinum Amex and buy stuff from you. But we're not saying to exclude anybody from shopping for you, but who do you intentionally purchase your products or provide your services to? And even if you're a service-based business, chances are you hone in on a specific either age range or maybe demographic. And sometimes niching down can actually help you get heard better versus trying to appeal to the masses. So, I think of even like restaurants. A lot of people feel like, well, restaurants really cater to everybody. The teens come, after school and get appetizers before they go to the football game or what have you. And then, husbands and wives comes for dates on Thursday and Friday nights. And then the seniors come after church on Sundays. So I cater to everybody. Okay, that may be the case, but there's a possibility that you find you truly generate the majority of your profits from a specific demographic. Are those teens really profitable for you, or do you get $5 or $6 from each one because they're sharing appetizers and splitting a soda? And we've read various books where even though the seniors coming in maybe, but they're wanting the best deal, or they only come in when your plates are half off or something like that. So you may find your true demographic, or the people who at least generate the most money for your business, might be somebody who you might not be aware of. So understanding who your customer is and who is driving your profits. I actually think it was Pumpkin Plan that we read that dug into that, right?
Yeah, the Pumpkin Plan really was kind of like the 80-20 rule, but broken down into an exact executable way of just diving down and saying, who is your customer that's bringing in the most money? Now, I just want to kind of piggyback on this. I think a challenge that some clients have, especially in the product-based business, is that they're just like Kristen, they're thinking their customer is everywhere. But when you really start to hone down and say, I want to know the one after I take out all my costs, who's the one that's making the biggest amount of money for me, that's who you want to expand on. The other challenge is that sometimes who you think you're targeting, you're not targeting. And I'll just give you a quick anecdote of myself. When I first started selling jewelry for Be Chic Jewelry, I actually thought I was targeting people my own age. And what ended up happening is I was actually targeting women that were 15 to 20 years older than myself. And, as time went on, I found out not only are they 15, 20 minutes or 20 minutes older, right? 15, 20 years older than myself. They were coming from one region, and that their household income was at a certain level, and it was not the level I was operating under. And so sometimes who you think you're targeting, just be prepared that you are going to, as a byproduct of business, attract a different demographic than you originally were going for. And that's okay. That just means that either you can continue to expand on that, or maybe you need to look at how your branding, like Kristen was saying, branding and how you're advertising and how the way you are communicating with that customer. Maybe the customer you want to go after is not resonating with the message you're saying. And then you just have to tweak your business a bit, right? So I just wanted to expand on that, because your core customer, like, we can maybe want this chick down here, right? But if our branding message is not aligning with her, we might need to tweak our branding message in order to grab her attention. Right. And so those are the things where it's like, you need to know who your core customer is, because then it's going to help you figure out what you want to do in your business to get her. But be prepared that you might be getting him instead. And that's still okay.
And that's still okay. Exactly.
And that's still okay. Yeah. You're not going to want to X him out unless he's making you lose money instead of make the profits you originally wanted.
Correct. Thank you for sharing your example too. Like, I think that's really powerful. So answering who your core customer is, not only for the branding efforts, but going to the next slide, that is going to really impact where you go after him or her or them. And now this is going to be fluid, you all. I think this was research as of 2023. Yeah. So this is going to be evolving, and who knows what else is out there, especially for younger audiences. I heard for a hot minute Snapchat was back, especially with younger audiences.
Really? Snapchat?
I'm just waiting for MySpace to make a big comeback. You know?
Isn't that crazy? Well, it's funny because you have TikTok over here, right? And so recently V-Chic went on TikTok, and we are getting followers that are 35 and up. And I didn't think, I was surprised. I didn't think 35 and up was on TikTok, but they are.
Well, they definitely are. And here's, like I said, this was as of 2023, and we certainly are waiting for some additional feedback and research for where this hits.
Yes.
You got to figure, typically with social media, it does start with the younger generation. They're typically more willing to be a pioneer and try something new. So you got to even look at Facebook. Originally started for college kids as a social network.
Yeah.
And then those college kids graduated, or their parents caught wind of it. Then all of a sudden, everybody was posting that they were on their way to the grocery store and just picked up a new pair of Uggs. I'm like,
and then all of a sudden Facebook's not cool anymore. And all the young kids who jumped off and went to
jumped off. 100%. So that's part of the reason. So I'm not surprised you're getting, 30 and 40-year-olds on TikTok, because it's been out a while now. And either their kids have taught them how to use it, or they're just willing to give it a try now. It's proven the test of time.
It has.
And they're willing to give it a try now. Yeah. So this is where you've got to be fluid. And you also have to understand, depending on where you live as well, that could be influential to where you're trying to reach people also. I do think still the more rural areas, at least within America, tend to be a little more classic. And Facebook, I think, and emerging Instagram. But you get into the city, if you're a city business, then chances are a lot of your potential customers are probably all over TikTok. Yeah. And that could be a really great. So you got to look into it. And, I give examples. Some of the best ways is just ask people who are your demographic. Maybe you're grocery shopping and the cashier ringing you up. Be vulnerable. Be like, hey, by the way, I'm starting my own business. I assume you're in your late teens and early, you're maybe college age. How do you find a business that you want to go support? Like, where do you find it? And they'll tell you. And then when you're, at the bar, the salon, getting your hair and nails done, ask them and start asking around, because you will hear, how they find it. But so this will evolve, I'm sure, and we'll update, but knowing really where to get how to reach your customer. So you're not calling to the wrong balcony, Romeo. So,
Rufus.
All right.
And you're going to get Rufus.
Yeah. All right. Take us through finance.
So, man, where do I start? I am a big proponent of numbers. And I think I've said this repeatedly on various webinars that we've done and our podcast or boot camp. Knowing your numbers is going to be super crucial, because part of knowing, who's your customer, who's gaining you the most amount of money, where are you making the biggest impact, all of that's going to show in through your statistics, and your statistics are translated through numbers. Okay. So that's why I'm a big proponent of knowing your numbers, because you essentially can figure out the direction of your business based on how well your numbers are performing. However, one of the things that I come across from a lot of clients and other business owners is just really, how do I figure out my numbers? How do I record my numbers? How do I get, I don't have a lot of time. I'm spread thin. I can't do this. A lot of that's happening with a lot of the clients. And this is my answer is going to say, there is this digital shift that's happening. AI came out and changed the scene. And before AI, there was a lot of systems integration. And what do I mean by systems integration? If you are selling a product, okay, and you're at the farmer's market and you've got that little machine that swipes a credit card, that little machine that swipes a credit card is gathering digital data. Okay, if you can get it good enough, they'll even gather the person you swipe that credit card. They'll know exactly how old they are and their income level. Okay, and their spend level. If want to go even deeper than that. But let's just say the basics is that you've just swiped a card and it's captured money on that card. And that transaction is documented somewhere. Well, if you can get a system that integrates with that square up, or the square that swiped your card, it can record that transaction for you. So finding a system, finding a tool that integrates with things that you're already using in your finances that can help you alleviate some of the stress of having to record things manually. And so that's why I'm saying use your digital tools that are available now to help you get to know your numbers. And then I just have a few points over here. So real-time financial insights, as you're swiping that card, it's recorded. If it's integrated with a system that you already have in place, you're not having to double time back and do it all over again, right? And then you can access it on your phone, your iPad, your computer, your laptop, because most of this stuff is cloud-based at this point in time. So it is utilizing technology to your advantage and not being scared of technology, because that's the other thing is the unknown is fearful. But guess what? You guys already jumped into business. That was unknown. You did it, and you got to get over that fear, right? So I kind of touched on this one already about how you're transitioning from writing everything down. I mean, that's old, guys. If you're still writing your receipts, okay, you are wasting time. Receipts should not be written down. They either are printed or typed up, or as you swipe that card, it's digitally transferred over to a bookkeeping software. All right. It's because as you do it, it's going to help you with your efficiency and your speed. And I touched about this too, adapt or be left behind. Don't be scared of digital tools. Don't be scared of the internet. Don't be scared of the cloud. I think something that someone had asked previously was, how can I make sure my information is protected? In order for these software tools to even get their licensing and sell a product, they have to go through so many different security walls to protect your data. And guess what? If you're already paying a bill online, it's the same thing. Your data is already out there. They have any payment transaction or payment transferring system has to go through so many security walls just to be secure or just to be safe enough to work with the general public. Now, does that mean there's sometimes security breaches? Sure. You see it all over the news, and hackers are getting smarter all the time. So nothing's 100%, right? However, it's not worth you not doing any of this for fear of what could possibly happen, because you're just limiting yourself to any growth in your business. Yeah. Okay. So what are some features that you want to look out for? I kind of lucked out in the fact of I was recommended QuickBooks, and it wasn't very hard to go with QuickBooks, because if you go on a search online and you just say top 10 online bookkeeping software for beginners, QuickBooks ranks up there. There are new ones out there now. And in my newsletter, I named a few different ones that you could look into. But QuickBooks, like Shopify, if you don't already have a website, is almost like your iPhone, okay? You can have your phone and you can just download apps that you need in order to customize your own package. And what I mean by apps is, for example, if you're selling at a farmer's market and you have a program that swipes a credit card, but you want to go ahead and have an inventory system in place that as soon as a credit card is swiped, it's taking inventory away from your available inventory, right? So you don't have to manually do this anymore. There are certain plug and play software that you can use in conjunction with QuickBooks to be even more efficient than QuickBooks is already doing for you. Okay. So for me, QuickBooks was good because it was able to grow with my company. So if you're starting out and it's just you and you're a solopreneur, that's fine. But the eventuality is you want to grow to the point where you've got people working with you. And so these people might need access to certain tools within QuickBooks in order to run your business efficiently. Maybe not everything. You don't want them to see payroll, right? Or maybe you don't want them to see how much money you've got in certain bank accounts. You can kind of cut things off and password protect certain areas where they won't be able to see. And so it has a feature where it's able to grow with your business. And then QuickBooks also offers a cloud-based version. So I can access QuickBooks anywhere. If I'm in China, I can go ahead and access all our banking account information through QuickBooks, any part of the world. And so that's one of the reasons why I have QuickBooks here. Now, just so you know, I'm not getting paid
I was going to say
to mention QuickBooks at all. I am just specifically talking about what we use and what works for us. And because this is what we do. If we're going to consult and coach you and be a mentor towards you, we're only going to talk about things that we have knowledge about. I have knowledge about QuickBooks. This is why it's on here. I don't have knowledge about any of the other products I talked about in my newsletter, but I needed to do my due diligence and let you know that there are other options out there, right? So, but yes, QuickBooks is what we use here. And I like it because you can use it as a solopreneur or you can use it as an enterprise and it can grow with you.
And QuickBooks also has different editions for different types of businesses too, basically.
Yeah. So the solopreneur, right? They have a solopreneur. I think it's like $20 a month or something like that. Right. Then they have one which is small business. So again, it's one of those things where if you need an inventory system management, you might have to pay a little bit more. An enterprise edition is is for companies that have over, 50, 80 employees and they have multiple users. Because the idea is to get your company to the point that every single role in your company is done by a different department head, right? So you want someone to do payroll for you. They will need to be able to enter QuickBooks and do payroll for you. You need someone to manage your inventory. They'll need to make sure to go into QuickBooks to see what inventory is there. You're going to want someone to make your HR reps sit there and make sure you're compliant. They're going to want to be inside your QuickBooks. So you will need multiple users within QuickBooks at one point in time. And the great thing about QuickBooks, again, I'm not getting paid by them, but you can grow and scale. So you can start solopreneur for $20 a month. And then when you get to the point where you need to add things on, you can pay as you go along. Yeah.
Love that. Good.
Oh, and then the major thing is you have access to customer support, because especially when you're just starting out and you have no clue what you're doing, you will be on that phone more times than I can count trying to figure stuff out. I've been there, done that. So just having the ability to reach a live person to answer some of those questions is huge.
Yes.
All right.
Very good. On to questions.
Talking about questions.
It's time for your questions. So
Q&A.
Shall we?
Yes.
Do it. We almost need a little song right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, first question came to us was, I am too busy to be playing on social media. What is the minimum I need to do for my business's success? Yikes. Okay, I get this, right? I think social media has a stigma of it's something that you can just get lost and go down the rabbit hole of watching videos and reels and people's opinions on things and just getting caught up in the muck of it. Well, I would say that question is actually, there's not going to be one solve for this, because I go to restaurants that are small, privately run, and they are busy all the time. And I think they post like once a week just to show what like their special is, or like if they have a new menu for the season, but they are not constantly saying, come to us, come to us, come to us, because they already have the foot traffic and they're fine right now. But I've also seen businesses that are like, what do I do? Nobody's walking in my doors. Nobody's coming to my website. So then I would say you need to be a lot more active on the right channels, calling to the right balcony for your customer. But this isn't an easy solve. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish and what you need. Because I would say your mindset in coming at this, you don't need to be playing on social media. Like you can, for Saige, I take one day a month and I schedule everything for both Saige and Books and Booze right now. And I just give myself 8 hours, create it, upload it, post it, so that what I do each day is I check in on and interact with our community, but I'm not creating something. So social media is a quick 10-minute burst in the morning, a 10-minute check in the afternoon, and a 10-minute check at night, just so that I'm staying active and interactive and answering questions. But I have that time slotted. Other people enjoy like very much in the moment, real things. I've literally seen business owners like, here I am getting ready to fire up the grill and I'm going to be cooking for you. And they're doing like live to their customers and people love that. So you need to be authentically you. That is the thing with social media. You have to be sincere and legit, but it doesn't have to be something that you're playing on by any means. What do you think, Leilani?
Yeah, I mean, I really love what you talked about there, about it really just depends on your business needs. I would actually, not quite sure who asked this question, but you're not playing. If you're in your business, you're not playing. So I would take that word completely out of business, right? It's fun. Business is fun, right? But if whatever you're trying to do on social media is not playing around, so be intentional about what it is you want on social media. And again, it's based on your business needs. So if you, like Kristen said, if you're reduced on foot traffic, you don't have a lot of foot traffic coming in your doors. Well, yeah, you need to get on social media and do some lives or do some posts about the product you're offering or the service you're offering in hopes of reaching more people, because that's what you want. You need reach at that point, right? You're selling a product and sales are going down on the particular platform you're selling on, and business is evolving to buying more through a social media platform, then yeah, there has to be a transition that happens with getting on social media. Now, the statement of saying I'm too busy, I'm gonna address that one too. You're never too busy to do what your business needs you to do. So if social media is what needs to happen, then make yourself unbusy, right? And don't play. I guess it's really what it comes down. Unbusy yourself and don't play if social media is what really needs to happen. Now, if this is just a little pet project of yours and you're having a good time and you're playing around, then I don't know. I that's the part where I just say, well, then I don't know how to answer this question for you. But if you're serious about your business and you're serious about growing and scaling your business, and social media is necessary in order to do that, unbusy yourself, stop playing and get to work and do your research to figure out what it is you need to do on social media.
Yep. And I think about the J. Abrams, mindset of how every business can approach growing. And it's either to increase how much your customer is spending. What just happened? How much your customer is spending, or how many customers are coming in to you, right? Like, so a lot of times businesses need to get more foot traffic into their door versus just getting repeat business from the same customer. So that just depends. But yeah, I think I would encourage you to do some soul searching on your mindset and just really think about how powerful social media can be for your business if it's what your business needs. If you've got the foot traffic already, then I might agree with you. Where could you spend your time elsewhere? But if you need that foot traffic to your door, although I would argue every business has its cycle. So consistently telling new potential customers about you could help fuel future growth. I think a lot of today's businesses suffer from shiny object syndrome, meaning they're the newest thing on the block. They're going to be popular for 6 months to a year, and then something else is going to open up and you're going to be like, where did my customers go? So any type of fishing that you can do to say, ooh, come see me, and don't give up on it. That's the thing. Just when you think it's falling on deaf ears, all of a sudden you'll be so surprised at the reach that you have. So
awesome question.
Yeah.
Awesome
Next
question.
one. I'm not very good with social media. What are the best social media platforms for promoting my type of business? I feel like we really dug into this earlier, in the slide presentation, and it's okay. I was not very good with social media at first either. And I don't think I'm the expert. When the time is right with Saige and Books and Booze, we're going to have a partner, that will really take the business to the next level. But there's going to be a time and a place for that, the right person and, everything else falling into place. So I would say, and experts, I've read plenty of books and blogs about this as well. Pick one platform, but make sure it's the one where your customer is at, and learn it and study it. And I promise, just by posting something consistently, either at least, 3 times a week or one every day of the week, you will get better at it. You will learn it. That's how our brains are wired. We're going to get better at what we practice. I promise you. You may not understand how, but at some point it's going to click. Leilani, I look at your journey with YouTube. Holy cow. I think if you and I, when we first said, let's do the podcast and, start putting it on YouTube, if you would have been like, oh, well, this, and this for analytics and SEO, but look at when you have applied yourself because you're doing it for Be Chic.
Yep.
And for Books and Booze. So, but she's also, she loves her numbers. She's,
I love my numbers.
But just by doing it consistently, you get better at it and you begin to learn things and you begin to meet other people who are doing it and they'll be willing to share ideas and best practices. So that's what I would say. Pick one and go at it and stand for something.
Agreed. I absolutely agree with that. And I think the added part to that, just like QuickBooks, that you can have systems that integrate together, right? If you just want to start becoming familiar with social media, for example, if you're going to just pick Facebook, right? Facebook integrates with Instagram, right? And if you can get a TikTok, I just found this one out, TikTok, you can share on TikTok and it'll share to both Instagram and Facebook. So if you just pick one, they're all starting to mix together where you really just got to come up with one message and it'll just link together and post to all of them, but pick one, start. That's going to be the biggest one. And don't get caught up on if it's the right message for their time being, right? Because you're learning. A toddler didn't know how to run until it learned how to first crawl and then walk. Okay. So just start and then you'll get better as time goes along, like Kristen said. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm not social media. I messed up even with this webinar. I posted on the wrong Facebook page. So I'm just telling you guys, I'm crawling level with social media, but little by little, I'm learning the ropes here and there. I'm learning enough to know that when it's time to give it away, the person we give it away to knows what they're doing and they're not pulling the wool over our eyes, right? And I think that's another thing we need to talk about as business owners. You don't need to become expert level at doing this. You just need to know enough to make your way. Okay. And then you learn enough to give it away to someone else to do. But you want to make sure the person you're giving it away to knows what they're talking about and they're not just conning you. And I think that's part of the reason of just knowing enough to get by is essential, because you as a business owner need to know a little bit of everything around what's going on in your business. So start. Yes. Okay, let's go into the next one. Okay, let's see here. I'm not a numbers person. Can I really do this in regards to managing my own books? The answer is yes. You don't have to be a numbers person. Right now, digital tools took out you don't even need a calculator. They're doing it for you at this point. You don't need to be a numbers person. AI and all the digital tools out there are pretty much doing it for you. Now, just building on the last one where you're going to crawl first, okay? There's going to be terminology you're not going to understand. The user interface for some of these software tools are a little confusing when you first start if you're not an accountant, okay? But the great thing about digital tools like YouTube, because YouTube is a digital tool, there are so many different educational programs and videos out there now that can really help you learn this software. What it will take is determination and consistency from you to watch it. Yes, you have to watch it, think about it, and learn it. So that's, I like when people are like, I'm a numbers person, I've titled myself, I identify as that. When you say you're not a numbers person, you have identified a negative title. Be a positive title and start saying to yourself, I am becoming a numbers person and I am becoming familiar with the numbers in my business, until you generate that title for yourself and you turn yourself into a numbers person. Because guess what? Every successful business person out there, and I dare you to look for one that doesn't know their numbers, and you won't find them. Nope. Every successful business owner knows their numbers. Okay. So if you want to be a successful business owner, you need to be, and I'm saying me, like I'm telling you, you must be acquainted with your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So can you do it? Sure, you can. Just have the determination. You have the determination to build up your own company, right? Well, have the determination to figure out your numbers and how to work this software.
Yes.
Kristen?
No, I completely agree. It's mindset. It's the stories we tell ourselves. So don't call yourself not a numbers person. I love that. Atomic Habits is where we really got into, it's what you say to yourself and then what you do. So like I had to start off just logging into my bank account every day.
Well,
and I
love that you brought that up, guys. And let me tell you something. The stories you tell yourself. Kristen used to tell herself that story. She's not
totally did.
But you're not like that. Nope. You're totally like KPIs and everything. This girl was spitting out numbers the other day, and I was like, look at you go. Look at you go, because she had the determination to figure it out, And so I was really, really, really just proud of you, that you did that. And yes, you can. It was a story you told yourself initially, but you don't tell yourself that story anymore.
Nope. Nope. I'm in charge of me.
And exactly. Yes. All right. Next one. Realistically, how many hours should I spend managing my budget and numbers in my business? Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think when you first start out, you're going to spend more hours in it than you want to, for sure. Yep. For sure. I think in my newsletter, I said logging in every other day just to check your accounts and categorize your expenses. And then once a week, so twice or once a week or every other week, looking at your balances and just making sure you are abreast of where you are in your budget. And when I say budget, I'm not talking about like, I only have this much more to spend. It's really going to be looking at, have I spent that money yet for this month? And if I haven't, let me go ahead and get it spent. And I think that's a big triggering factor for people, is they think a budget means a ceiling to their spending. And where I think if most people broke down a budget, they look at it differently and say, well, I haven't spent this particular money and it needs to be spent because I've already budgeted in here. Let me go ahead and spend it. So it's actually the reverse. Instead of it's a scarcity mindset, you're looking at the other side, which is an abundance mindset. You've already have that money allocated for something. Make sure you spend it to where it needs to go, because now you have budgeted intentionally to make sure your money is flowing in the direction you need it to flow into, and not by default, which means your money is flowing out in areas that you have not planned for. So once you change, sorry, go ahead, Kristen.
Along the lines, and also have that contingency plan for when more comes in. Don't let the more be just icing on the cake and, then I'll take my partner out for dinner. No. Wait, because you could take them out for dinner in Paris if you budget the right way and plan. So have a contingency and believe that your goal that you're going to set for yourself, that you are going to beat it.
Yeah.
And when you do beat it, how are you going to put that money back, pay yourself and put that money back into your business so that you can maybe 2x that next time? And
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, part of your budget. So there's going to be your budget that's all around your operational expenses, right? Part of running your business, right?
Yeah.
And then there's going to be your investment side. And so that's the part Kristen's talking about, that contingency plan. So if for example, if your operating budget's $10,000, but you had revenue come in at 15, don't pay yourself the extra 5. You already budgeted that 6,000 of that was going to you as part of your salary. 4,000 was operational expenses. That extra 5 needs to go into the contingency plan. Now, part of your goal setting, okay, watch the boot camp. Part of your goal setting is if you know where you want your business to grow to. So, for example, if you are working in a farmer's market and you are selling this particular product and you want to get to the point where you are selling that product online and you want everything housed in a warehouse, or maybe you want to make sure you have a surplus of inventory so you're not having to work so much during the week to make this particular product, then you are going to know that that extra money, and it's not extra really because it's spent, but that additional revenue that came in will be put into this fund that's going to be your investment fund that will be allocated and used for your growth strategy that aligns with your goal. Okay. And so, Kristen, you're right. I love that you brought that up. It is an extra money. You're not going to go spend it going to Bora Bora in the Maldives. No, you have a plan for that and you're going to utilize it for that particular plan. But coming back to how many hours, when you are first starting out, and if you are not a numbers person, every day you will be learning how to be a numbers person, right? So you're anywhere from maybe an hour to 2 hours a day watching various videos and figuring out different problems, learning new terminology, okay? And that will go on for anywhere from 2 to 3 months, okay? Afterwards, once you've become familiar with the terminology and you're starting to understand what a profit and loss statement is and what a balance sheet is, you're going to start moving. Instead of it being 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, you're going to probably transition to something like 1 hour every other day, but you're still putting in somewhere about 4 to 5 hours a week into your budget. Now, the great part about it is once you get past that year mark, you're not only going to know the terminology, you're not only going to be familiar with the layout of a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement, you're also going to have historical data. And that's really where it's going to help you with forecasting and making big plans. And at that point, past the year mark, you're not going to have to go into your bank accounts as often as you think you will, because you have historical data and you're really familiar with a lot of the numbers going on in your business. But yes, guys, the first year is going to be a lot of you in your accounts. It will be. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you are not up for it, right? Reanalyze where you want to grow to. Okay. I'm not telling you need to be an accountant. That's not what I'm talking about. I still have an accountant. But what I am telling you is that you want to make sure you understand the nuanced stuff that's happening in your business, because if in your first year of growth, you want to buy a new product because you think it's going to make you a lot of money. Well, if you're not quite sure what your true numbers are to begin with, you could make a bad business decision buying these particular products. Okay. So that first year is going to be kind of intense. It will be. But once you get past that, now you can start looking at delegating and handing some stuff off. And you're going to be okay to know you're not going to make some poor business financial decisions.
I also think to some extent, this depends on whether you are basing your business on like footsteps versus bulk sales. Like, for example, I think of somebody who, even like yourself with Be Chic for a while, you were selling in bulk to some bigger companies who then sold your product. So you almost connected with them seasonally and then for their reorders. But then I also think about a brick and mortar where they're literally needing to reflect on their goal and, okay, how many people, if traffic's down, if this many people are walking into my door, how much do I need to inspire them to so that I can still make my goal? Or, wow, traffic's up. My goodness. Do I have the money to staff and maybe bring somebody else in to help make sure my customers are taken care of the right way, timely, or to the quality that I want? So in that regards, I think every business owner needs to look at some facet of their business data daily, but maybe not necessarily the bookkeeping part of it, but at least the data reflection as far as where they're at in progression to their goal.
Yeah.
And adjusting their goal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. I guess I was being broad when I mentioned budget, right?
Yes.
So I think a lot of people think it's just money coming in and out of a bank account, but different departments have budgets on what they can and cannot spend for particular things, what you can and cannot invest in. Those are all budgets as well. And I just want to point out too, I'm talking, when I say 1 to 2 hours a day for 2 to 3 months, I'm talking to you guys that this is the first business you've ever been in. Okay. This is the first time that you've decided to go full time in the business, or you've decided that, this is it. I'm not playing around. I'm not doing this as a side hustle. This is something I really want to grow to full time. That is the commitment you're going to need for it. I understand if you're working full time and you're having to do, it's going to be a lot to juggle for a little while. But that's kind of where I was at. If you've already been in business for a couple of years, you probably already know a lot of different things about your budget. You maybe have some gaps to fill in, but you're not going to be needing that time commitment versus someone who's just really starting out in this game, right?
Yep.
So I just want to reiterate that when I talk about 1 to 2 hours, I'm talking about someone if you're just starting out.
Brand new. Like you said, learning to crawl so that
yes,
yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. These are great questions
They
again.
Great questions.
Thank you so much. So friends, please, we're so glad that you're part of this tribe with us. We're going to come up with a name for our little community here. I mean, it is the business growth community, but that's what we're doing. But who are we? So we got to come up with our name. I'm excited about that. But please remember, twice a month, we do these for you, with you. And it is always a reflection on the last two newsletters that dug deeper into various aspects, I guess, to help build your business acumen and business awareness. We have found really where our heart's calling is to help the individual that is transitioning from employee to self-employed, or knowing they want to get to business owner as efficiently and correctly as possible. So we have these where we're digging into this with you and helping you grow. So please mark your calendars. And I get it. A lot of times Wednesday nights, you're maybe still at work or you have stuff going on with the family. That's why we're recording this. We're getting better at uploading it faster for you, but you can send in your questions, even if you're not going to be on the call itself. Please send in your questions. And then, we're always wanting feedback. We post things hopefully to keep you mentally motivated and inspired. But if you'd like to see something else or a slightly different format, or you have an idea, communicate to us, because we are here to keep you energized and excited, because it can feel grueling at times running your own business and feel very lonely. So we want to make sure you realize that you are not alone in this at all, and that your mindset is more than half of the battle for your success.
I like how you brought that up, and just about the questions too. So our newsletters are on a particular topic, and of course, we'll have some questions around those particular topics. But if you have a question that's not relative to the newsletters that we brought out, or those talking points that we're talking about, go ahead and submit them anyways. Send it in. And these are live coaching sessions. So if you're not able to make it, we miss you. We hope you make it on the next one. However, if you're here, cam up, mic up, and get on the call with us, and we can just go back and forth live with you. So it's an opportunity that if you've got some questions rolling around that you're really like, I want to be able to talk to someone, it's your opportunity. We're here with you for an hour to do so.
Yes. Love that.
Yes.
All right. Last slide, I think, is
what happened? It didn't.
Is that it? No. There's another one. Is that it?
There it
is. You guys, thank you so much for being part of our tribe and our community. We appreciate you so much. And we're so excited to watch you grow and thrive.
Yes.
And we will see you I think this one is in 2 weeks. Yes, I think we're on that cadence right now. I know as we get closer to the holidays, we're going to be careful to stair step around peak holiday weeks, but you will continue to get twice monthly. That we commit to you. But we do want to be cognizant of holiday and holiday travel and commitments and things like that. So until next time, thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you for being with us. Bye.
Yes, thank you. Bye.